off? Or?
I'm good. I was making sure it was on.
Oh, all right. The rec is still going?
Yep.
All right. So we'll start off with number 1, Jerome Gagnon. I checked the pronunciation, since there are about 5 pronunciations in New England. Jerome Gagnon lives in Northern California, where he's worked as a teacher and freelance journalist. A graduate of San Francisco State University, he has an MA in English, creative writing, and is the author of a Chuck book, Spell of the Ordinary, from Finishing Line Press. And the background is, from his poem, is Cherries After, was inspired by a visit to a small farm near Dartmouth, Massachusetts. So this is Cherries After by Jerome Gagnon. Cherries After. The bucket in the shed where something scurried is badly rusted. And the ladder that leaned against the door is twisted and light, made from cherry wood. You can smell it in the flickering between the trees as you reach for cherries, ripe and happy in the leaves. The faintly sour taste of cherry on your tongue and breath, but sweet, mostly sweet. And each bucket you fill, you pour into your sack, going back for more, even though your arms are burning, and you're thinking about sleeping in the shade of the trees for a while, up against the cool, flat part of the trunk, before a long pedaling home. And you do, lulled by the hum of bees and the clicking of blackbirds, not thinking anything like cherries are the mirror of summer. Although you could say that if you wanted to. Something about the glint off most every one, like stars reflected on a glassy bay off Massachusetts, or Maine, or New Hampshire. And of course, you do. Still dreaming, these many years later, about the promise of cherries, darkly gleaming in a russet sack. That was number 1. Now we have number 2. Let's see if we can get more volume here.
Oh, you gotta get more volume?
There's a lot of restaurant noise bouncing off the wall. All right. So number 2 is from Mark Stevick. Mark Stevick teaches creative writing at Gordon College. That's on the North Shore of Massachusetts. He's just finished his first book of poetry, A Stadium Full of Bears, with Finishing Line Press. 2 of his plays, Cry Innocent and Good Night, Captain White, are frequently produced in Salem and elsewhere. So, this is Mark Stevick with Cross Our Hearts. You know, love, who are as yet unknown to me, detained by other hands and held in time may hold a single hand to me, and by this hand I know that you'll be mine. Though now the object of your love prevents us, and leave to speak your name is spoken for, yet all such lesser claims will soon convince us our love is being made and kept in store. So when with silent words I suit to love you, love, let your silence serve as your consent. For if my words are suited well and move you, your heart becomes my truest argument. For if these words are true and move you, then I'll confess with lips what I would know. So next we have from Jeffrey Glover, Raspberries. Jeffrey Glover, the native of Wisconsin, has been an English teacher, librarian, product developer, direct mail marketer. Now retired, he has written 2,300 sonnets.
Oh my God.
One submitted for national competition. He plans to begin publishing later this year. So we found someone in their own alcove there. Raspberries by Jeffrey Glover. The raspberries I did not pick in my little lot, the very ones where canes were thick. The truth is, I forgot. They grew and waited just for me, sweet and red and ripe, hoping someday I would see them, at least I might. But you know how life goes. I was too distracted, getting by, feeling woes, many things protracted, and so my berries went to waste, like many days I failed to taste. We move into the honorables, and of course we'll favor those who traveled here, made the perilous journey from either Salem or Chicago. Ipswich. Oh. All right. Why don't we start with the farthest away? So is it Arne Weingart? Let's see. We'll go down through the bios. Arne Weingart lives in Chicago with his wife Karen. He's the principal of a graphic design firm specializing in identity and wayfinding. He's been awarded residencies at the Atlantic Center for the Arts and Vermont Studio Center, and has been a featured panelist and reader at the Southern Festival of Books. His work has been widely published in journals and has also been nominated for a Pushcart Prize. His first book, Levitation for Agnostics, was the winner of the 2014 New American Press Poetry Prize and was released in 2016. Arne? All right.
Thanks, Jim. It's really good to be here. I'm really happy to be here. This is not the smallest poetry reading I've given. Not by a long shot.
That's a poet.
Yeah, which is no surprise to anybody. Yeah. Well, I can hear me. I don't know if you can hear me, but I can hear me. Okay, good. So I got to read two poems. I was honorably mentioned twice. The first poem is, I think it's going to be the title poem of my next collection. If my next collection would get off its ass and find a publisher. So we'll see how that works out. It's called Dolman's Menher's Cromlech. And, because I had to look these up, I'll tell you what they mean. Anyway, you all probably know. A dolmen is a monumental stone. It's planted upright. Menher is a horizontal stone placed on top of a dolmen or two. Cromlech is an arrangement, an association of those, like Stonehenge, for example. So, Dolman's Menher's Cromlech. We need one of these, I think to myself, something solid, indivisible, to demonstrate how we sought to align ourselves with the tide of history, the phases of the moon landing, the low-orbiting satellites from which we receive our sense of self. Although our quantum understanding of matter has us convinced that even the densest, most indifferent stone is mostly antimatter, we need something standing in an open field, while there are still open fields, to remind us of who we were. We will have gotten it wrong, no doubt. We will have failed to protect our crops, consecrate our water. keep our children from making our same mistakes. Let others judge. Let them try centuries to divine our fatal misunderstanding. Let others shake their heads in wonder. Let there be others. Thank you for that vigorous applause. I appreciate it. Next and final poem is Poet Descending a Staircase. The logical thing would be couples, one line for each foot, and so on, until you get to the landing where your love is waiting, naked as you are. Except it turns out there are an odd number of steps, so you climb back to the top, so sorry, and try to figure out whether tercets will get you where you need to go, or some odd combination of couplets, tercets, quatrains, anything that gives the appearance of intentional art. But not having counted stairs on the way back up, you have no freaking idea how to get to the bottom of things without falling insouciantly down the entire flight, your head flipping the balusters like a xylophone, and your arms and legs changing places continuously, as if in a cubist cartoon, which they in fact are in, while you try to keep smiling that same smile, which your love once said, in different circumstances, never to be repeated after tonight, she found impossible to resist.
Now, it did really well, despite the fact that we didn't know what those three words meant when we were in our reading session, so that's impressive. Let's see. So the next up would be Kendra Mack, and Kendra, where are you? Ah, there we go. Kendra is a copywriter by day, a novelist by night, and a poet 24/7. It's like me, an involuntary poet. He can't stop. She is the author of The Beast in the Basement, a chapbook of delightful rhymes. She is a lifelong New Englander, a graduate from the University of New Hampshire, and currently lives in Ipswich, Massachusetts. You have your two? All right. These guys.
Oh,
great. Sorry, I'm short. Here we go. Can you hear me? Great.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having me. This is my first time in Lawrence, and so far it's a great impression, so I'm really happy to be here. My first poem is Walking the Beach on an August Evening. It was inspired by an actual walk that I took in Ipswich. We have beautiful beaches, most notably Crane Beach, and it's a great place to go. I highly recommend it if you've never been there. The beach is busy, though it's late. I stroll along its shore and past the couple's children, groups of bodies there galore. Bare feet they stomp somewhere. I am between a walk and run, away from voices, rangers, guards, and from the setting sun. I go a mile out and stand and bask in my retreat, the gold, the blue, the wind, the tide that's rising at my feet. I am the farthest person out, so with nobody near, I speak some words, just some words, for no one else to hear. I turn back to the sunset and be joined then to the crowd, not caring how I walk or look or what I say aloud. This is my second poem. This is my homage to Robert Frost. A lot of my poetry is, I started writing by being derivative of taking poems that I liked and making my own renditions of them, which some people consider kind of sacrilegious, but it's how I got my start, and this is my take on Robert Frost. And I wrote this actually when I was breaking up with my boyfriend of 7 years, coming out of the closet, wasn't really living in any particular place, was trying to just like moving around, and you never think to find Robert Frost in times like that, but I don't know, Frost is what did it for me, so this is inspired by that. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and so badly I longed to travel both. I froze in place, and there I stood, and thought of every could, must, and should, until I fused with the woodsy growth. I grew until I became a tree, with branches and leaves and roots and all, stuck staring down both paths laid there for me, as far out as my eyes could see, through winter, spring, and summer, and fall. I bear my flowers and my fruit, and watch the others choose their way, often wondering if I pulled at these roots, would they work the same as my old boots? Yet here I still stand, and here I still stay. One day I bet I'll think it through, facing the yellow path still laid. Two roads diverged, and so there I grew, a choice not made, so I never knew what difference it might have made. Thank you so much.
Everyone needs to try to toy with that logic instead of just saying, "Oh, I know which one is the right answer." So Robert Frost always refused to answer that the other way was right. It was the exercise that I was refused. So, and I want to say I've read maybe dozens of walking along the beach poems, and it's really unusual to have a walking along beach poem that you really like. What do we got today? I'm trying to find people who are going to be reading on Saturday at the All Literation Nation May celebration, 6-group celebration in Merrimack. Let's see, we've got we still have Jean Creeling. Of 2 poetry collections, Arts and Letters and Love, 2018, and The Truth in Dissonance, 2014. She is a past winner of the Able Muse Write Prize, the Great Lakes Commonwealth of Letters Sonnet Contest, 2 New England Poetry Club prizes, and a String Poet Prize, and she has been a 6-time finalist for the Howard Nemera Sonnet Award. So this is The Palette by Jean L. Creeling. She has a quote to begin from Robert Francis. Cold and the colors of cold. I hubble toward, hold out, hold on, hold on. The palette loses warmth, the hair gone gray, the teeth not quite so white, the skin spattered with freckles, not the spray of tiny dots that firmer flesh might draw from summer's genial light, but larger, darker spots from glare as raw as time itself, which burns us ruthlessly until it renders cold strange portraits of familiar atrophy. Yet we assume that we can still resist, still wield a brush and hold an undiminished palette. We insist will be preserved by grit and eloquence, naive as morning glories. We clutch at canvases whose permanence was never ours. We're victims of a con, one made of our own stories. And so persuasive, we hold on. Hold on. And we have another one that's a real favorite among one of our readers. Well, it's not that. So this is Jean L. Creeling. Remember Allerton, circa 1615 to 1655. They called their child Remember. Did they know she'd live a story no one should forget? At 5 years old, the little girl would go to sea aboard a crowded ship beset by wind and waves, foreshadowing a year of hardships. That first New World winter took her mother. Did Remember live in fear? Amid disease and hunger, did she look ahead to better days? She would survive for decades more, but all her minor fame stems from her childhood story, kept alive by tour guides and carved stone that bears her name. The girl who traveled here one bleak November, and now long gone demands that we remember. And there's one from Linda Flaherty Haltmeyer, who is a local, just down the road in Andover. And Linda Flaherty Haltmeyer is an award-winning author and poet laureate of Andover, Massachusetts. She is the winner of the Homebound Publication Poetry Prize for her full-length collection, Rolling Up the Sky. And her poetry has earned numerous awards, including first place in the Palm Beach Poetry Festival competition, and the finalist honors for both the Prince Mere Poetry Prize and the Tucson Festival of the Book Literary Award. She has been nominated for a Pushcart Prize, and her poems have appeared extensively in journals and anthologies, including Switchgrass Review, WSQ, Ink and Letters, Wild World, and more. Also, in good news, she has a poetry collection, To the Left of the Sun, which is forthcoming in September 2018 from Homebound Publications. Linda Flaherty Haltmeyer. Terra Incognita. She studies my face for a sign, a greeting to alert her to where she is in space, how she fits into the orbit of today. Her clothes too big, the world too fast, reality too elusive. My hand lights on a morning glory of purple that flowered on her arm since last visit, a Rorschach of dried blood, beneath the skin no thicker than a dragonfly wing. If I look long enough, I may see straight through to chambered bone or nerves tinged scarlet, wrapped around highways of blue. She is the lucite model from my 4th grade Christmas list, the visible woman, marked with 4 stars, the highest magnitude of want, a see-through shell of parts color-coded for easy identification. She never landed under the tree. Malibu Barbie showed up instead. The cartography of the body still inscrutable as runes. Okay, anyone else? Well, Robert Smith, I don't know whether I have a bio on him. He's from Huron, Ohio. Subtext. The driver ahead of me is texting. I can tell by the way he puts his head down as the car swings to the berm. Then he's all head up with a jerk and dashes to the dashes between the lanes. I'm distracted too by him, by a memory of a funeral, a double funeral, Mother and daughter on Route 7, coming home from their shift on Browns Island. A semi-disrespected little car they were in. They were tired, but not texting in 19...